Okay, so here's my update. I went to Vegas this past Thursday. I was there from Thursday to Saturday. As soon as I got off the plane, I went over to Dr. Golpa's office and they did x-rays and determined that the bridge was not broke. It was not fractured in any locations whatsoever. No problem with the screws or anything like that. The only thing that they found out was that this abutment over here was loose. So they while I was there, they took the bridge off and they cleaned it. And when they cleaned the bridge, it basically consists of them putting it in like a sonic cleaner type of thing. They just drop it in there and they let it do its thing. And then they clean off the abutments. They scale the abutments. And that's where they, scrape any kind of buildup that may have, came up on the abutments. So that's what they did there. No reline, because if they put any more reline material in there, then the space will get to be too thick, and that would cause problems keeping them clean. So why did the dentist here assume that the bridge was fractured? From what Dr. Golpa showed me, from what they showed me on the x-ray that they took, the way that the bridge is welded makes it kind of appear that it might be fractured, but it's not. It's one solid piece. I saw it for myself. It is a solid piece. So it wasn't fractured at all. And I felt pretty bad that, I wasted time, money, and resources on that trip because Dr. Golpa funded the whole thing. He paid for my plane ticket, he paid for my transportation, my hotel, stay and everything like that. And, for what? To tighten up an abutment. That made me feel terrible, even though it wasn't my fault because I didn't know. When I go into this dentist here, my teeth were loose and I was terrified that they would end up coming out. And so I'm naturally, thinking the worst. And then to hear a dentist tell me, you basically need to just throw your $12,000 bridges in the trash, well, bridge in the trash because it's worthless. I'm putting words in his mouth, but basically the gist of what he said was that the top bridge is done and needed to be remade, and I need to go back to Vegas. I, you know, Instinctively we want to trust instantly what we're told because this is a professional and the professionals know just what they're talking about. Hindsight, I should have done things a little differently, and maybe you guys can learn from my mistake. For one, I should have asked to see their x-ray. Even if I had no idea what I was looking at, I should have still probably seen the x-ray and asked more questions about how he came to the conclusion that the bridge was fractured and have him show me, point things out to me. That you don't want the hassle of having to do that and follow up and check up on things like that. You want to be able to believe that you're getting accurate information. But whether you are or aren't, this is your health, this is your money that you're spending. You need to be a little bit more informed, and I should have done that. I should have taken the time to ask more questions and have him show me exactly where it's fractured and things like that. And I didn't. Another thing that I should have done is, if Dr. Golpa has seen me up to this point, if he has, my paperwork, he worked on my case, he installed these, he did the operation and everything, so he knows what everything is made out of, like how it was constructed and how, like, the situation with my mouth and everything like that. I should have just got them to fax over my x-rays just for him to take a look. But the thought didn't even cross my mind because, I'm panicked thinking about my teeth falling out. That was a nightmare scenario for me. I was really paranoid. So I didn't think about that. And, it would have been nice if somebody had brought that up, but maybe they didn't think about it either. So next time an issue arises like this, I'm going to remind myself of this incident and just, show me the x-ray, show me what you see, and let's get Dr. Golpa's opinion. Can you fax my x-rays over to him. And the assistant at Dr. Golpa's office said that she would not mind giving, the new dentist a call up and explaining, my history so that they're not, blindly going into anything. So that's something you want to consider also is if you get your work done out of state or somewhere else and you plan on going to a new dentist for your maintenance work and everything, then you need to bridge that gap in communication. They need to have like kind of your backstory of what you've been through, and so they can know exactly how to treat it. Um, I called Dr. David and Associates office, which is where I went to have everything looked at locally. And I talked to, I guess she was like an office manager, I'm not sure. And she was explaining that their reasoning behind that is that it doesn't look like one solid piece. And, from what Dr. Golpa told me, it's welded. It's the way that it was welded together. And then David and Associates office says that they don't do it like that. That's not how they construct their titanium bars. And so they said, it is fractured. And, they gave me the dentist's cell phone number so I can call. But, I don't make these, so I don't know how they're made. I don't know what's normal and what's not. It's very likely that they just have different techniques and how they construct the bridge. I mean, who knows? But like like the assistant at Dr. Golpa's office stated, which makes a lot of sense, is how would a titanium bar have become fractured but nothing else is fractured? There's no cracks in the acrylic or anything like that. How is that even possible? And I brought that up to the lady at David and Associates, and she's just like, I don't know. It could have been just the way the bridge was made in the first place. It could have been made like that. And so, you know, I honestly don't know. I am going to pick up my X-rays from them and have them sent to Dr. Golpa's office, so he can just kind of review them and maybe give me a little bit more information on how the bridge is made and why they would have assumed that there was something wrong. Because, I'm really fortunate that I didn't have to pay for this. I paid for my visit to David and Associates, and no, there is no refund because I wasn't exactly getting charged to hear that my bridge was garbage, I guess. I was being charged just to be there, and I did bring up, well, if I'm gonna get an exam and I'm paying to get an exam, I hope I'm paying for accurate information as well. Like, I don't, what kind of sense does that make to pay $70 to go in and hear something that's like totally untrue, And not to mention the time and money that I put into making the trip all the way out to Las Vegas. I've got 4 kids. It's not that easy. And so I just, maybe there is a good explanation for them to say that, it was damaged and needed to be replaced. But I don't think that they understand the magnitude of what they did. They cost me a trip out to Las Vegas. Like, I'm not made of money. Like, you can't just, unless you're absolutely 100% sure, you can't just tell someone, go to Vegas. That's crazy. And that's why I didn't second guess them. I didn't question them, because I didn't think that they would possibly just toss that out so casually. They have to know a trip to Vegas. My bridge is loose, so obviously it would have to be a last minute thing. That's a big deal, and so I am pretty upset by that. Um, I could call the dentist and ask him, for more information, but I doubt I'm going to hear anything that really makes a lot of sense. And probably, I probably wouldn't understand what he's talking about anyways. And it doesn't change the fact that there is no fracture in my bridge, and what's done is done, pretty much. You could tell I'm pretty peeved about it. I am pretty peeved because, this is the kind of messages that I get a lot, is from people who are given the runaround. And, like talking to my friend Ashley, she's having to get like root canals done and stuff like that. And it's like, she pays to go thinking she's going to get her root canal, but she's paying like $100-something to go and be told, oh, you have to go here. Okay, well, give me my money back. People don't have money for that. Yes, it ticks me off. Of course it ticks me off. And they wonder why people dread going to the dentist. Is because, well, what fountain am I going to pour my money into this time? I mean, I'm ticked. I'm ticked. It's seriously like standing there at a wishing well and tossing all of your money into it and not, getting any kind of benefit from it whatsoever. So I'm very grateful that Dr. Golpa paid for everything, and he took care of me, and he wasn't, he was very understanding. Like, it kind of peeved him a little bit that the dentist, told me the bridge is fractured, you need to go to Vegas and get it replaced, obviously. But he didn't say anything bad about the dentist or anything like that. He's not like that. And he wasn't upset with me because he knows I didn't know. I had no idea. And so that's that. That's what happened. And they just tightened everything up. Everything is back in order. And the abutment probably came loose from me clenching at night. So they are making a night guard and sending it to me. And I gotta wear that every night on my lower, I believe. And I'll do a video on night guards and their benefits and how you wear them and how often you should replace them and everything like that once I get it in the mail. But yep, it was an ordeal, and I'm just glad that everything is okay. So for all of you that were worried about, my bridge possibly being complete garbage, it's not. It's totally fine. Everything is fine. It was just a loose abutment, which happens when if you clench your teeth or grind them at night, then you definitely want to get a night guard, because that can knock things loose, and once things become loose, it can mess up other things, and so you really gotta be preventative when it comes to that. You gotta try to prevent it from happening, because it happened over the course of time, like from the time I got the bridges, the time I got my implants, all the way up until the beginning of August, when I noticed something wasn't right. And once it knocks it loose, things will go downhill pretty quickly. So it wasn't something that happened overnight. It was, a few months in the making, and then it just intensified until it finally, it got to the point that it couldn't, I don't know, couldn't function properly. I don't know. So that's that. And if you guys have any questions or anything about, what's been going on, then you can message me at KAL32205 @gmail.com, or leave a comment in the comment section. I'm kind of unwinding from coming back from my trip, so that's why I haven't really been responding to very many messages. But if you do want to get updates, then I would suggest you check in the description box below and friend me on Facebook, or like my page on Facebook, because that's where I give, most of my updates first. That's who hears it first. So you guys take care.